In the last video, we learned about how to define functions, how functions can take input as argument and give output, and how we can use a function, that is in function invocation. Today we will learn about a specific topic, that is arguments, because in functions can take different types of arguments, which are of positional or keyword, or they can also have a default parameter as well. We will look into those three today. Before that, I would like to give you a recap of what functions are again and how we can define them in Python. DEF is the standard way to define a function. The DEF stands for define, followed by the name of the function. Here you are given it max because we are finding the maximum element in an input list. We give an input, which is a list, followed by a semicolon. After the semicolon, that is the body of the function. The body of the function should be one space indented. If you don't indent, it won't. The function won't work. Once the input is received by the function, it will perform some operations on the function. Once the operations are done, we would like to return a value. So we return the value using this keyword. Okay, and now coming to our topic of the day, let's start with positional arguments. Uh, we have been using positional arguments from the beginning. So if you want to add two elements, so you define a function sum with input as x and y. So these x and y are the positions. The order in which you pass in matters. So if you say sum of x comma y and then you return x plus y, that would give you, one second, print of sum of 1 comma 2, that gives you 3. So this is what you're saying right now is exactly what we call as positional arguments. So what it means is the order in which you pass when you're passing arguments, when you're calling the function, the order matters. So this 1 is assigned to the variable x here, and this 2 is assigned to the variable y here. Similarly, if you want to define a function, say subtraction, define subtraction of x comma y. Let's remove this function, we don't need it anymore. So the typical behavior that you want to do is you want to subtract y from x. So you would return x minus y. When I say y from x, we are subtracting the value of y from x. That's what I mean. So if you call subtraction of sub of 4 comma 5, sorry, 5 comma 4, you would expect you to give you 1, right? But if you pass in, if you give 4 comma 5, that would give you negative 1. We don't want that. So the order matters, right? So here the 4 is assigned to x and then 5 is assigned to y, and in this case 5 is assigned to x and 4 is assigned to y. That is what we mean by positional arguments. So if we take few more examples, let's say we're defining a function that will calculate the exponentiation, sorry, the power of a particular value. So to calculate the power, we have a base and then you have the exponent, right? So you will return base exponentiation of exponent, print of power of 2 comma 3. What this 2 comma 3 means is you are evaluating 2 raised to the power 3. Okay, that is what you are evaluating. If you print it, one second. Let me restart my VS Code 1 minute. Yeah. Yeah, so if you run this, it will give you 2 raised to the power 3, that is 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2, that is 8. And if you give it, say, 3 comma 2, that is going to give you uh, 9. So the order in which you call the function matters. Okay, that is what you mean by positional arguments. Sometimes, when a function has more than 2, 4, 5 parameters, let's say if just imagine if this function has a lot more parameters, x, y, z, d, f, g, and a lot more. If it has a lot of parameters, the order in which you're going to pass in might be a little bit confusing. To avoid that, what Python has a solution is you can explicitly say which particular parameter should have which value when during the function call. So instead of getting confused, what you can do is you can call the function using the keyword. Here, this is the idea of keyword arguments here. So if you give base is equal to 4, that'll make your base 4, and then exponent will be 2. So that is going to evaluate to 4 squared, which is 16. You get 16 over here, right? And then you can also exchange these two. The order in which you specify these keyword variables doesn't matter, because the Python interpreter will know specifically, because this particular value 4 is assigned to the variable base. So the order doesn't matter. So if I change for this first argument to the second one, it would still give you the same answer. See, 16 and 16. So in this way, you can exchange the order as much as you like. It doesn't matter. So this was keyword arguments. Sometimes we can mix these two, position and keywords, together, because in some cases you know the positions in the function definition, and in some cases you know the keywords. You can mix these two. So for example, let's say you want to call this function like this: print of power, where you are using the position to assign the value to base, so 2 as your base, and where you'll use exponent as your keyword argument to assign the value to exponent, right? So that is 4. If you do that, it will give you 16. Okay, now you can try doing this as well. um, let's say you give your keyword exponent is equal to 4, and then you give it 2, right? If you run this, it won't work. It will throw you an error saying positional argument follows a keyword argument. Okay, this is a positional argument. This is a keyword argument here, right? But when once you what is happening here is the exponent variable that is defined in the function will take the value 4, and then this value 2 is a positional argument. It's not a keyword argument. So according to the function definition, you can see exponent is the second position. So this value 2 should be assigned to the value exponent over here, but we have already done it over here. So the Python interpreter is a little bit confused on what to do here. So the order in which you will be using these both position and keyword is you need to follow the first input should be positions, and then after that should be the keyword arguments. It should not be the other way around. You should not first specify the keyword arguments and then follow it by position arguments. That won't work at all. It will give you this syntax error. Okay, so you can mix these two, and if required, when you are defining a function. Okay, now let's talk about default parameters. So in Python, sometimes you want to assign a value defaultly to a particular parameter in a function. So what you can simply assign a value to this exponent. Let's say whenever a person calls this power function, you want to give him the squared value of that particular input. So you don't have to explicitly ask him to provide you an exponent value. So you can define it over here. You can assign the value to exponent, that is exponent is equal to 2. So when you call the function, let's say uh, print of power of 4. So what is going to happen now is it will automatically it will automatically determine the value for exponent because you have assigned it in the function definition itself. So you can simply pass only one parameter because this parameter already has a value in it. You can also override this default parameter by specifying what kind of exponent that you want. So if you give it 5, it will it will give you the evaluated value of that 4 raised to the power 5. And if you miss, let's say you define this function with base and exponent, and then you missed to specify exponent, it will give you an error saying missing one required positional argument, because exponent value is expected when you are calling the function. Here there is no default value, right? So you have to specify the exponent value when you are calling it. Okay, so that's how this works. And if you want, you can make everything default. So let's say the default value for base is 1, and then the default value for the exponent is also 1, and then if you call this function power, simply just power, instead of giving any input, it will automatically evaluate it and give it to you 1. This is the answer, and you can do whatever you like now. So this is 4 comma 5. Yeah, so this is default parameters. So today we have covered how in positional arguments the order in which you call the function matters, and then when you're using keyword functions, you can switch up the order because you are explicitly specifying what keyword you are using when you're calling it, and then you can use both the positional and the on the keyword arguments, but you need to keep in mind that in while doing so, you have to first give the positional arguments and then follow it by your keyword arguments. If you do it other way around, it won't work. And then thirdly, we talked about default parameters. A function can take in a function's parameter can have a default value, and if a function's parameter has a default value, you don't have to specify the particular value when you're calling it. Okay, so that's it for today. Thank you.